straight away I was like, that's mine. Pretty full circle moment. That work that I did as a 21-year-old, you know, has helped a lot. I mean, a guy can say I'm having a kid and everyone's like, oh, congratulations. Anyway, back to business.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's a woman, they look at you like, what about your career? Yeah, and then shortly after that, I got pregnant.
Oh, she got pregnant.
I always remember there was this moment where I was in the studio and I was attempting to record a song and I physically just couldn't sing anymore because I was like so busy and in the middle of basically living my dream.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm absolutely not stopping. They played me a demo of Kisses for Breakfast. It was like a rough demo.
Yeah.
I was like, what's that song? I'm going to come down like next week and record. I never had the exact goal of I'm looking for a record deal. That's like that. I wasn't actively looking. I was just making music because it's what I've always done. So I was forced to stop what I was doing.
Hello and welcome to the 4th episode of The Pivot Project. My name is Davika Kapoor. I'm your host, and today we've got a very special guest. So I'm here with Melissa Steele. She is a platinum-selling, MOBO-nominated artist. She's been streamed over 270 million times, best known for her songs Kisses for Breakfast and I Loved You More. Hi, Melissa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for jumping on the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We've been trying to arrange this for weeks.
Yeah.
But you know what? Life is busy.
It's been hard to catch each other, right?
It's been hard to catch each other. And I'm really, really grateful for you to be here today because I know that your single has just dropped, right?
Yeah, it has.
Do you want to tell the people a little bit about your single?
Yeah, so my new single, Over You, has just dropped today, actually.
Woo! Woo! Yay!
It's a garage song, very nostalgic feel. I made the song with producer duo Yin Yang Boys, who, funnily enough, I went to school with, which is a pretty full circle moment. Bradford Gang.
01274.
Yeah.
That's actually how I know you as well. We're both from Bradford.
Yeah.
A lot of the time people say, how do you know this person? It's like everyone knows everyone in Bradford,
Yeah,
don't they?
literally.
It's quite a small place as well. Why this is really, really exciting as well is the fact that, you know, you've released this music, and I know over the last couple of months as well, you've been coming back on the scene, right? Because this is not your first rodeo. You've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
Kisses for Breakfast launched, 10 years ago now?
Yeah.
That's mad, that. It literally feels like it was yesterday.
I know, time flies, doesn't it?
Time flies when you're having fun.
Crazy. Yeah.
But let's go backwards, Melissa, right? So for anyone who doesn't know you, how did you get into music? How did you become the singer, the artist that you are today?
Okay, so I'll have to make it a long story short.
Go for it. You can make it long if you want.
Yeah, I've always done music. I've always wanted to sing from a child. It's just always become natural for me. I was saying earlier to you as well that I always used to get my mum just used to film everything that I'd do. So I've got all the footage from a kid where I'd just be practicing, and I'd, you know, before YouTube was a thing, I'd be getting her to film me singing covers, like Alicia Keys covers and stuff like that, which is pretty funny to watch back. And obviously I have a dance background as well, so I always used to get her to film my little choreography that I used to make up, and then I started in dance schools, and then around the age of 10 or 11 I started just performing on stage. Like, someone from the dance school used to get me on opening for singing competitions, carnival, like little events. I'd start singing, and then my piano teacher at the time, we went to the studio together. He produced me a little record that I've still got on CD. Feel old, CD.
Yeah, CD, like taking us back now, aren't you?
But when I was 11, that was my first time in having the studio experience, which I loved. And then I just kept performing, realized how much I loved it. Over time was getting paid for it when I was 12.
That's wild.
Yeah, really wanted a cat, which my mum didn't want. And because I now had the money, because I was balling, I bought the cat. So there's nothing she could say, because I was like, I've made the money now. So
you've been hustling from day. I can't believe that's...
She couldn't say
Is
no.
that what you got from your first paycheck?
Yeah, I was 12,
singing?
yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, I really, really wanted one. And I was praying, please, I want a cat. Then I got one.
Yeah.
And then high school times, around 15-ish, I think near the end of high school, YouTube became a thing.
Yeah.
And I started doing little covers, as you'll remember, won't you?
Yeah, well, I was like, I think even before we became friends, I had seen your videos on YouTube and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so good. She's such a good singer.
But they were like filmed on, I don't know if I did it on a webcam, but maybe it was a digital camera that I filmed it on.
Wow. Those digital cameras have come back now as well.
Yeah, now they're like vintage and I'm like, oh,
you're like,
I feel old.
Y2K, and you're like, I was using this.
Yeah, but my audience there was a lot of Americans as my audience at first. And then obviously I was on MySpace when that was a thing. And
oh my God.
over time I kind of gained some popularity. And then that's when I started going on my little travels to London.
Yeah.
With my producer friends and broke, but making music all day, all night.
Yeah.
And I'd be just sleeping on my mate's sofa. And yeah, then things started happening, which I can get into.
Yeah. So how did things start happening? Because for a lot of like musicians and artists, like, you know, like you said, day, night, they're in the studio, they're writing, they're singing.
Yeah.
Like, how did you actually blow? Because I remember when, you know, you were on YouTube and then I remember when you were going to London and like in the studio doing this and then it felt like you just blew up.
Yeah.
So can you like explain that journey?
Yeah. So I think for me, like I never had the exact goal of I'm looking for a record deal. That's like that I wasn't actively looking. I was just making music 'cause it's what I've always done. And I feel like I just thought, do you know, like when you've got a passion, you just think this is me and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
It will probably happen at some point, but I'm not searching for it. So the producers that I used to work with called High Frequency, we started, you know, they were the main people that I would work with in London. And they ended up signing to Chasing Status's label at the time. So I'd just be in their studio sessions sometimes, just hanging around. And I remember I don't know if it was one of the A&Rs or one of the managers came in and heard one of the songs that we'd just done. And he was like, oh, there's a new DJ that we've just signed called Cove. Do you want to get in a session with him? And I was like, okay. Got in the session with him. But this is two stories into one.
Perfect.
So obviously that ended up becoming the single Way We Are that I dropped before my first single.
Yeah.
And that ended up charting. I can't remember I don't know where it was in the chart, but it was definitely top 40.
Yeah, I remember.
So it did pretty well. Yeah, and that was unexpected. But within that time I had met who would then sign me at Atlantic Records. I was in talks with them as well, and I had Kisses for Breakfast and I knew that I was going to drop that. So yeah, those two things kind of aligned strangely perfectly. So when Way We Are came out, when they were shooting the video for that, I was in Jamaica shooting the video for Kisses for Breakfast, and they kind of dropped like within, I think, like a couple months of each other.
So how did you essentially get, because you know, Kisses for Breakfast with Popcorn, massive, like amazing first single to kind of put out there after the one you did with Cove? How did that come about? Was it just the case of like you were in the studio, you were meeting certain people? Like, how did that even come about?
So I think because of like my growing audience on YouTube and MySpace, my name was kind of floating around a little bit, I think. And I remember just getting a DM from Twin B, who at the time was a One Extra DJ. Yeah. And I didn't realise, obviously, at the time that he just got the job as head A&R of Atlantic. Yeah. So I just thought, oh, Twin B, One Extra DJ. Like, woo. And he was like, oh, I've heard some of the stuff that you've been working on. Let's have a meeting. I was obviously down for that. I was just that person where I was not overthinking it. I was just happy to like connect with people and network. So went down. Yeah, they played me a demo of Kisses for Breakfast. It was like a rough demo. Yeah. I was like, what's that song? I'm going to come down like next week and record that. Wow. And they were like, okay.
Did you know then when you heard it that this could be like an absolute
straight
banger?
away. Straight away I was like, that's mine.
Because it's kind of that's like become your style though as well. I know we spoke about this earlier about like you can do both. You can do garage, you can do dance hall, but that's kind of your like, island vibes, right?
That was my debut, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so that kind of fell into place as well. And when I recorded it, I had a really bad chest infection.
What?
Yeah, like I literally,
So you're telling me that's not even your best
I had
work?
a chest infection when I did that, I remember. But yeah, then that dropped and no one knew what it was going to do, but then it went top 10 and everyone was like, whoa, okay, we're on something here.
Yeah.
And then obviously after that, we did Drunk and Incapable with Crocheting, which charted as well. I think that was like 27.
Yeah.
And it was, fun fact,
Go on.
it was on the Sims 4 game. So we had to...
what?
Yeah, so we had to re-sing the entire song in Simlish, the Sim language, which was quite funny.
Wait, what?
It's online, yeah. It was on the game. It's one of like the main songs of the game, yeah.
I didn't even know this.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So you literally sang it in...
Yeah, we got given like the script and we had to completely re-record it in Simlish, which was really funny. It's on YouTube.
Didn't you used to play Sims as well?
Yeah.
So wasn't that like a full circle moment
Yeah,
as well?
I love Sims.
Were you like, wow, that's
gassed.
mad.
Yeah, and then after that, Beanie Man was on the remix for that too, which was cool. And then I Loved You came, and that was like this absolute smash.
Yeah, that was like a belter.
Yeah, that was top. I think that was number 7 in the chart. It went platinum, and yeah,
that's crazy.
It was that popped off
So much because at the time, and I was telling you this earlier, I remember being at uni and it was like 2 a.m. in the morning at a bar or a nightclub, and it came on and I was, I'd had a few little drinks and I was like, that's my friend. And then everyone was like, oh my God, like that's your friend. And I was like, yeah. And I think I actually called you at like 2 a.m.
Oh my gosh, I actually think I remember this.
I think I called you.
Is that how long ago it was?
Yeah, because I wasn't even like, I just wanted you to hear that it was on in the background, you know what I mean? So banger
well, you was my backing dancer for that song once, don't you remember?
Yeah, I was.
At Wireless Festival.
Yeah, guys, I'm actually a dancer.
So I did Wireless Festival.
Yeah.
I think this was in like 2015, wasn't it?
It was literally 2015.
I did Wireless Festival. I did the main stage, which is really cool. So obviously I had my dancers for that, didn't I? On the main stage.
The real dancers. the ones that could actually dance.
And then after, there was you and a couple of my other friends, and we went on to the New Look stage, I think it was.
It was the New Look stage.
And it was like an elevated stage, wasn't it? So we were really high above the crowd.
Yeah.
And because it was such a tiny stage, I couldn't bring my dancers on. So I was like, oh, you 3 backing dancers, come on. So I performed. I think I just did I Loved You. I don't think I did.
Yeah.
I don't think I did more, right?
I'm not sure actually, but you got a video of it.
Remember,
so
but I definitely have a video of that.
Might have to like
you're gonna have
the
to put
video
that
up
in.
here.
Yeah,
but then
you should, because I'll find it and you'll be using it.
Yeah,
because there's footage of you dancing behind me.
Yeah, and I really couldn't dance then, and I can't really dance now, but we're practicing.
You're training, love. You're training.
We're training. Amazing. So you obviously literally just banger after banger after banger, right? And then you got signed after you'd put out the bangers, or was it in between?
Yeah, so between Cove and Kisses for Breakfast, like obviously when the Cove record came out, I just signed to Atlantic.
Yeah.
I think they wanted me to secure all of that before they started dropping songs.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, but when that happened, I didn't have management yet.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had to search for management.
So you kind of did it the opposite way around, maybe?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, it was a really cool experience. Then obviously I did You Love Me with Wretch.
Yeah.
3-2. Yeah, just great times, really.
Yeah, no.
Life-changing times.
Life-changing times. And the reason I wanted to get you on the podcast as well, because how old were you when you got signed and like was releasing all this music? Was it like...
I think I just turned 20. Like I was in talks with the label when I was like 19.
Got ya.
I think. I was around 20.
Right.
So it was like my 20th and 21st.
Yeah,
I was like out here.
21st, and I don't know if it was me who got you a bottle of something, but like I think it was. I think I got you a bottle of Prosecco or something to be like, woo, like not just the fact that you turned 21, but also like you're doing bits.
I think on my 21st, I'm trying to think, was I turning 21 or 22? I remember I was out in LA on my actual birthday shooting the video
after.
with Wretch.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Mm-hmm. Was that like a bit of a pinch me moment, like being 21 in LA?
Yeah.
With Wretch 3-2?
Yeah, it was great. It was really good. It was fun.
I can't believe that. And then after, you know, putting out the music, like all these bangers are coming out. What happened then?
Yeah, so this is the question that gets asked a lot, doesn't it? Like, what happened? Because you were just smashing it and then you like disappeared. So
where did you go?
So I was obviously in America. I wasn't living there, obviously. I was living in London.
Yeah.
But I was about to do that transition. Like we was having the conversation about like taking my music over there and stuff. And actually on the trip where I was shooting the music video with Wretch is when I actually started feeling unwell. That's what happened.
Okay.
I got diagnosed with autoimmune disease. So I noticed that I was just getting quite tired. So on that trip, say like we'd be out for dinner and I would literally leave to go because I just felt like I needed to sleep.
Okay.
And I wasn't sure why I felt so exhausted. And then it kind of just went downhill from there. Like I was obviously in the middle of doing the campaign for that song, trying to do my album. I was in the studio constantly.
Yeah.
And then I just remember like I started getting really like severe pain in like my stomach.
Did you think at first it was just because like, do you think it was kind of I don't know, I don't want to say stress.
To be honest with you, I had a bit of an idea of what I thought it could be because my brother got diagnosed with this when he was young. So
right.
I kind of already had an idea. I was hoping it wasn't this.
Yeah.
My brother has Crohn's disease. I was hoping it wasn't that, but because I was like so busy and in the middle of basically living my dream, I was like, I'm absolutely not stopping. It's not happening. Like I'm on a roll.
Yeah.
Everything's happening right now. There's no time for me to be ill, which obviously is absolutely not in my control.
Absolutely. So you just kind of, would you say you kind of ignored it or?
I tried to the point where I couldn't.
Right, okay.
So I tried to, and I always remember there was this moment where I was in the studio and I was attempting to record a song and I physically just couldn't sing anymore.
Because of the pain?
I just physically couldn't sing anymore. Yeah. And I remember I kept laying down and then like forcing myself to get back up, like, okay, I'm good. Yeah. Like telling myself I'm good, but really I wasn't. And then it actually got to the point where my label had to tell me to go back home.
Really?
Yeah, just because they were concerned. So I had like tests done and there was a point where the ambulance had to come to my house basically and rush me in to do tests on me because I was in so much pain. So because of that, I had to recover.
Yeah, of course.
Which is, you know, it takes a big hit like on your mentality as well because it's not in your control. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't because like I got dropped. It wasn't because something didn't work out. I was actually doing really well. And then the health is wealth, isn't it? If you don't have your health, you don't have anything, literally. So I was forced to stop what I was doing.
And this is like the first time you've spoken about it, right? Or
yeah, I mean,
you kind of mentioned it before.
I mean, a few people know, obviously, but yeah, majority of people just actually always ask me the question of where did I go?
Yeah.
I don't know. People have their thoughts on what's happened,
people
but that
is
is the reality.
Yeah. As well.
Yeah, and I don't obviously. At that time, I was just focusing on like getting better. I wasn't like posting about it, telling everyone because I didn't really know what was going to happen. So I was just focusing on that, and then I attempted to release music again, and then kind of got ill again. I was just trying to get like control over it, basically, because what the illness is, it's because it's an autoimmune disease. So basically the white blood cells in my intestine will think that there's something wrong, and it will attack me, thinking it's attacking a virus or something. So it can cause like inflammation, ulcers, stuff like that. It's on the rise, actually, which is actually why I want to speak about it, because a lot of people are suffering with it right now. I've seen my brother go through it. And then shortly after that I got pregnant.
Oh, she got pregnant.
But I was still signed. And
how was
then
that,
my son came?
Because the toll of being unwell and trying to manage the Crohn's, and then you just got pregnant as well. So when that happened, it was kind of after I'd recovered a little bit. Okay.
So I wasn't like in the middle of being, I'd kind of had control over it by that point already.
Because you do a lot of holistic stuff, right, as well, in order to
that's kind of like forced me to. So I've managed to control. So the doctors told me that I'd have to take meds for every day for the rest of my life. But I've managed to control this for like a couple of years now without taking anything, just through like diet and minimal stress. What I found is stress triggers it for me.
And that's like a lot of things, isn't it? Stress can really bring on a lot of illnesses and aggravate it as well. So you recovered from it, then you got pregnant.
Surprise.
But
I didn't say anything until I was like 7 months pregnant, because anyway on.
I mean,
and I was kind of afraid, to be honest, because I think as a woman, I mean, a guy can say I'm having a kid and everyone's like, oh, congratulations. Anyway, back to business. Whereas if it's a woman, they look at you like, what about your career? Do you know what I mean? So I was really afraid about that. And
So when you did get to about 7 months pregnant, I guess you had to kind of let people know. So you let your label know, like.
So they were still supportive. Obviously I did form a really good relationship with a lot of people on the label.
That's great.
So they were still supportive. Obviously I had that mentality at the time, like, oh, I'll give it a couple of months and then I'll be back to work. Obviously you don't. It's not reality, is it really?
That classic, I'll be back. I
was adamant. Literally.
Leave, whatever that looks like as a singer.
Because I just didn't want to slow down, because I'd already taken time off because of my health. So I was a bit like, oof, okay. But then, for me, like, family first. I've just had a kid. I've got to give myself time.
Sure.
That's just the reality of the situation. Obviously they understood it. And I just chose to focus on my kids and make sure that I'm present. Do you know what I mean?
Because you don't get that. You don't get that time back, do you? So.
Yeah, for sure. And I've just felt like I've obviously felt they were understood, supportive. Parted on good terms. Nothing. There's no like
bad
strange energy. So I've just been focusing on that. Then obviously my daughter and I just feel blessed that I've been able to do that. Like,
it is a blessing, right?
Like, I've been able to just focus on my children, and I'm so close with them, and I have like such a good bond with them because of that. And I've not felt like the pressure. Luckily, that work that I did as a 21-year-old, has helped a lot.
Yeah, of course.
With me being able to do that. And obviously now they're a little bit older. Now I'm at that stage where I feel comfortable to, because I know the amount of work it takes and time and energy and stuff. So now they're a bit older. I feel more comfortable.
I just want to give you my hands as a friend.
Oh, thanks.
It's been a journey, right?
It has. Yeah, there's been a lot of things. Yeah.
And I think sometimes people forget, like, someone in the public figure or an artist, like, shit happens. Like, they still have life and they have the same issues, problems as someone who's not in like the public eye as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, you've spent like the last couple of years focusing on your health and like raising kids as well. But we were talking about on the way here, right? Like there's other things that artists can do.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what you've been doing in the midst of like the kind of 10-year period as well?
Yeah. So like on the music side of things, I obviously wrote for some people.
Yeah.
And I've also done, well, I recently did like one of the ads for the latest like Pretty Little Thing advert, for example.
Did you?
You knew that, right? Oh, you didn't know that?
Oh, I missed this.
Yeah, like so like little things like that. I've done like, obviously I've still worked with labels sometimes for like demos and little things there. But yeah, I do write. So, you know, there's been some cool things that I've not fully been out. I just haven't released like my own project for a while, if that makes sense.
Because I feel like you have been in the studio for like a while.
Yeah.
But it's only like the last 6 months where you kind of like...
Yeah, I've been focusing like in terms of me actually releasing something. But I think the last time I released something, which is not, it seems like long ago, but it's not actually that long ago. 2019 I released with Nathan Dawn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was like the last time I released something, and that's done like 9 million streams.
That's done really well.
Yeah.
I've been out playing.
Yeah, but for my own like personal project, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And the reason why I wanted to get you, I think I was trying to say this earlier, but I didn't finish my sentence because we're just pivoting into something else. The reason I wanted to get you on the podcast, obviously it's called the Pivot Project, right? And I think there's something special about, you know, being in an industry, doing your thing, being at the peak of your career, taking a little bit of time out, and now you're pivoting back into...
Yeah, it's such a full circle moment. It really feels like that. I feel like...
That's like the word, isn't it?
Yeah, it's proper full circle moment.
But you're going in now, like you're back in the industry with, you know, obviously you're older.
Yeah.
You're wiser.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you've had quite a lot of life experience in between.
Yeah.
What do you think the difference is like between now and 10 years ago when you were just coming on the scene?
Yeah.
And now you're kind of getting yourself back into like the mix of things. What's the difference for you?
So I think the main thing is the purpose of why I'm doing this, because obviously I have a bigger reason now, which is my kids. Yeah. So it's more like, you know, back then I feel like I've always been quite level-headed and always looked at the bigger picture of things, but obviously I only had myself and obviously family and stuff to think about, but mainly you think about yourself, don't you? Whereas now, because I have certain responsibilities, the way that I work has to be smarter. I can't just do like random things like I used to. I have to actually plan properly.
I mean, it took about 10 years for you to get here and do this podcast.
Well, yeah, arrangements have to be made to be kind.
I was just like, leave kids at home, they'll be like...
Yeah, you're like, they'll be fine. But yeah, so obviously the purpose, is different because it's more about like securing a future for my kids and legacy, and also I want to inspire other people as well. I'm old now as well, so... Older.
Listen, you're acting like you're auntie or something. You ain't auntie.
I'm older. I didn't say I'm old, hon.
Yeah, you're older. You're more mature, right?
But I'm more mature. So like,
do you think you understand the game better as well?
Yeah,
because,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. I was going to touch on that as well. Like, because I'm independent now and I'm not under a major. Yeah. Obviously, I've learned a lot in that experience of being with a major. So I've seen how it operates, and now I'm still learning, but I've learned a lot with how the business side of things works too. Whereas when I first came into it, it was like, you're just a part of a big machine and you kind of learning as you go along. Whereas now, like, I'm actually operating like a boss.
A boss, like you actually own your shit.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Literally. So I'm just doing everything on my own terms, basically.
And do you think that's like more of an organic way of doing things? Like, do you think it's kind of better for you in regards to like, you know, obviously you've still got young kids, right? So like you still need to be in control of what you're doing and where you're going. Like,
right now, like, it is at the moment better for me because, you know, I get full creative control. I get to choose like to be honest, when I was signed, I was really heavily involved in the creative side of things.
I can imagine you probably were.
Yeah, I was. But obviously even more now, I'm not kind of drowned by, not that I was drowned by opinions before, but it can easily happen if there's a lot of people.
And do you feel like, again, with age, and this is something that I've realised, with age, you start to get to know yourself a lot more.
Yeah, I can take time more of like what I want to say, and I'm in control of the message that I want to send and how I want to do it and how I want to build my fan base.
You designed
like,
the cover, didn't you, for your new single?
Yeah,
because you were sending me like
I was sending you options like which font.
I think I said that one, and then you were like, you still went with the other one, and I was like,
that usually is what happens with me, by the way.
No, but I was like, this is a woman who knows exactly what she wants, and it was really cool, by the way. I love the whole like Y2K nostalgic garage vibes. I was like, it was a bit of a throwback.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
The artwork's got to reflect that.
You what?
The artwork's got to reflect that as well.
No, 100%. I love that. I love that you kind of like, this is my thing, and I also think, I'm saying it, we're chatting here now, but as a friend, I think it's very brave. There's a lot of people who, they're in the music industry and respectfully shit happens, right? Whether it's an illness or grief or loss or just loads of different things happen. They have kids, like their priorities change. And I can imagine, actually, let me not imagine, let me ask you, like, was there ever a time where you were like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get back to that singing thing? Or do you feel like in your heart you always knew you were going to come back, like genuine, like let's be really real now? I
think, I have this thing, it's literally ingrained in me, so it's like an itch. Like, I
thought you were going to say it's like an ick.
No, it's like literally like an itch. Like it will bother me if I can't.
Okay, got you.
So in my head, I'm like, it's going to happen, but I've had certain things and people, let's say, that have like tried to
derail.
Yeah, tried to stand in the way of that, which I have respectfully moved, because
ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, but I'm just that person. Like it's ingrained in me. I've done this since I was a child.
Yeah,
it is a part of me. So
I can't imagine doing anything else, to be honest.
Yeah, like if I can't express that, and if I can't, I want to be able to share my thoughts and my creativity with everybody.
Yeah.
It's just a part of being an artist, isn't it?
Yeah.
It would be strange not to. And also just, I think having kids, I've always thought in my head, I don't want to ever be that parent that's like, this was me before I had you.
Yeah.
I don't want to,
like, for the kid to hear.
Yeah, like,
as well.
I don't want them to ever feel like that it's because of them, which obviously I wouldn't ever purposely do that, but I wouldn't want them to feel like that. I want to see them actively watching their mom doing what she's passionate about as well, because I want them to be inspired by me.
Well, I mean, your son already is, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. My daughter literally wants to be me at this stage, which is so cute. And then my son, obviously he's at school now, so he'll be like low-key YouTubing me, which I'm like, funny. I'm just obviously happy that I'm like not sweating about that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's nothing bad. But also he's like, one of the parents came up to me the other day at school and was like, your son told me that you told my daughter that you've got a new song coming out soon. And I was like, oh.
He's doing promo for you.
Yeah, I said to him today, I was like, got a new song out today, so make sure you tell your friends. He was like, I already have.
That's so
I tell them to YouTube you all the time, and I'm just like, okay.
It's funny how YouTube's become popular again.
Yeah.
But I like loved it back in the day. Like, yeah. I actually put some songs on YouTube of me singing, and Melissa, I can't sing to save my life. But I put like Paolo Nutini Last Request on there.
Are these still up there? Search it, guys. No.
don't search it. Don't search it. But it's funny how it's like full circle. Everything's like full circle.
It's crazy,
right?
Isn't it? Like we're in, obviously it's never going to be the same as like the original early 2000s era, but because we're just like bombarded with social media now. But we are kind of hitting that time again, which is mad. Because I always used to want to be a pop star back in those times. When I was a kid, I used to wish that I was like a pop star in those times.
Listen, my favourite song was Jamelia Superstar.
Oh,
And now if I ever do like a karaoke, not like I do this often, but if I'm ever there and there's a karaoke and a mic, I'm like, put Jamelia Superstar on.
I love that.
Because I know it word for word.
Ew, ew, ew.
All the things they're all about. Ew,
Oh, you're doing your sexy voice.
ASMR, guys. My God. Do you know what's actually funny? And we'll talk about this because I know that you're someone of faith, right?
Yeah.
And I used to actually pray to God at the age of like 12 in the shower. I'd be like, God, please just grant me with a really good singing voice, because my friends, aka you, other singers around, they just had like these angelic voices, and I don't know why. I just could not compete. Could not. Really wish I could be.
This is what we were talking about, wasn't we? Because we were basically touching on the fact of like, we're all given a gift.
Yes.
And we're not in control of what that gift is.
We're not in control.
But we have free will to like make our own choices of what we want to do in life.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do. But in terms of your natural gift that's given from God, we don't choose that.
Well, this is actually why I kind of brought it up as well, because one thing I guess that you've said to me like over the last couple of months is you've talked a little bit about like timing and knowing when the timing's right. Like, is that kind of why you've decided to kind of come back out, because you feel like the timing is right? Like, what's the...
It's crazy because I feel like when is ever the right time?
Oh, that's true.
When is ever the right time for anything?
But
we don't really
what would you
know.
say that's like pushed you to, because you've been recording for like a while, right? I think we had this conversation. I was like, Melissa, like you're in the studio like all the time. You've got a setup at home, like you're doing stuff.
Yeah, but that was just redeveloping my sound, I think, because obviously that's a process, isn't it? I've been away for a while, so I kind of have just sat in my own space writing again, and for myself, writing and just discovering over time what it is that I want to say and like what my sound's going to be and like what I'm feeling.
What do you want to say and what is your sound? Put you on the spot there.
So obviously my sound has a few elements of like my roots. So obviously there's this garage song that's come out, which I wasn't actually I knew it was such a sick song. I wasn't intending it for it to be a single.
But the people wanted it.
But the people wanted it. And I loved the song anyway. I would literally play it to people all the time. So there's that. But then also having, like I'm half Jamaican. My mum's first generation, like British Jamaican. That's obviously a part of me as well, because I've grown up with reggae and dancehall, which obviously Kisses for Breakfast that I did is a reflection of that too. Yeah. So then that's how those worlds have kind of collided, because I grew up around bassline, garage, grime, but then also that side, and my voice reflects the R&B, because I'm a proper R&B girl at heart.
Me too.
Like I can write an R&B song with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I studied those pop R&B girls when I was a kid.
I love that. Like you fully like studied them and you were like...
Yeah, but not even like thinking, oh, it's because I want to sing like that. It was just, I just loved music and singing so much. So I'd literally just sit there with the album books, just learning every single song, every ad lib, everything. And then it becomes a part of you, doesn't it? The more you do it.
Well, not for me. I'd really practice and it didn't work. But, you know, like you said, God gives those gifts, particular gifts to people. Yeah. But no, I love that. And I know that writing as well is a big part of what you do, not just like musically, but you journal a lot, right?
Oh yeah, like, I started journaling when I was 6 years old. Yeah. And I have literally so many diaries from 6 until now. Because I still do it now. So I've basically got my whole life story written down. So it gets interesting when I hit teen years. Oh, because the subject just turns to boys. Oh, classic. And it's like really funny to read though.
I met this boy today.
I'd be like, I love Bow Wow.
Yeah.
In my diary. I swear to you, I'll show you.
Listen, we all loved Bow Wow in the Like Mike
Little
film
Romeo.
as well. Yes. No, I love that. So what can we expect from you now? So you've obviously got this garage tune now. Mm-hmm. You've been working. Actually, let's go back. Like you released a freestyle, right?
Yeah. So that was obviously for me. That was like quite random. It wasn't meant to be a single or anything like that. But I thought, you know what? I need to just show that I'm back out on these streets.
I know you miss me.
Oh God, literally. So I literally recorded that on my sofa at home.
I love it. Do you know what I love though? I love the kind of like the Caribbean-esque part of the song.
Yeah, I always like to add that in there because it's a reflection of me.
I'm not going to say it because I'll be like Jessie Nelson when she was like, but when it comes on, I'm like,
me pretty.
Go on, can you do it? Can you do it? Go on, give us a freestyle.
Oh no, stop it! Don't put me on the spot like that.
Part. Go on, ASMR.
How's it go? Tell me, Tavika.
The part where it's like, pretty. I'm not very good at remembering lyrics. I love it, but you know which part it is.
Pretty, unnatural bombard.
I'm dancing to it, Melissa.
I can't do it. But yeah, basically, I recorded that on my sofa.
Like, pretty.
Can be pretty. It's for the baddies, that song actually.
The baddies. We love it.
And yeah, I just thought to myself, I'm going to get this professionally, like actually filmed.
Yeah, looked so good.
Just because I wanted just something polished for my YouTube channel. Just so, you know, my subscribers on there can see that I'm back out here and I'm attempting to be back out here. I
think that was a really good segue into like,
yeah,
because even the words like, I know you missed me.
Yeah.
It was like, bitch, I'm back. You're like,
basically.
You've been like, I've been busy doing my holistic wellness, healing, having children, raising the kids.
Yeah.
And now I'm back.
Switching back.
Now the kids are in school. I'm back.
Literally, it's true. But it's funny because like, I obviously have to switch so many times of like my roles in a day.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm in mom mode, and then when I get free time I'm like in music mode, and then I have to switch back to mum mode. I have to stop what I'm doing with music to go get the kids from school.
Yeah.
And then once they're asleep, then I'm back on music. So it's like I can't work as much as I want to, but when I do, I have to make sure I'm like making the most of my time. So actually it is making me more disciplined, to be honest.
And what advice?
I'm like more selective with what I'm doing.
Absolutely. I mean, time is precious, isn't it? When you've got kids as well and being efficient. What advice would you say to someone who maybe they're an artist and they want to get into the music industry, but they've got kids and they're not sure whether they can make that commitment? Like, what advice would you give them based on like what you've been doing? Like, how have you been able to balance it out?
Honestly, for me, like, if I didn't have the help of my mom, it would be really difficult.
We love you.
Yeah, I love you, mum. She's honestly, because I don't really leave my kids with anyone else. If I didn't have her, I'd be like, I'd have to like take them everywhere with me.
I thought you were going to bring them here today as well.
But yeah, I think if you've got someone that you obviously trust to leave them with, then that will obviously help a lot. But we've got social media now. You can do a lot with that phone. Yeah. As long as you're smart about it and you're strategic with, you know, the content that you're doing. It's easier now, isn't it?
Like jumping on like TikTok, for example, because a lot of people are blowing from there, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's both, isn't it? It's hard and easy at the same time because so many people have that idea. Yeah. So it's how are you going to stand out? I think if you know who you are, what your sound is, what sets you apart, you always have to think about that as well. What sets you apart as an artist?
Oh, perfect. You've just given me the last question. What sets you, Melissa Steele, apart as an artist?
I think for me, my tone is quite unique. Do you know, like my actual voice? I think it's quite. I mean, it gives me if I'm wrong.
It gives me Aaliyah vibes.
I think it's quite like recognizable. Yeah, the tone of my voice. Oh, thanks. Oh. But I think that's very important. I think that's what draws me to liking an artist as well. If they've got like quite a unique tone.
Yeah, you definitely do. You can definitely recognize you. Like wherever you are.
Thanks,
sister.
And I always like to do what other people aren't doing. So I think when I did Kisses for Breakfast, I don't think anyone was doing that sound yet. Nah. That wasn't the trend at the time.
No, I don't think it was.
And I just popped out with popcorn on the beach, and then now I'm obviously doing garage, which like.
You just do whatever you want to do. I like
to do what people aren't doing. I would like to be a trendsetter.
You like to be a trendsetter.
Yeah.
So what's the trend that you're going to go for then in 2025, do you think?
Well, you'll have to wait and find out, won't you?
Yeah, don't tell anyone, otherwise people will...
But I will definitely be, you know, going to my roots with like the dancehall R&B vibes. That's a part of me, and that's definitely what I am working on.
Yeah.
So that's in the pipeline too. So
good.
We're doing a bit of everything, baby.
We need some summer anthems. You know what I mean?
I think that's my thing.
And listen, next time you're at Wireless, I will come and be your backup dancer
Get
again.
practicing.
That's what I'm doing. I'm practicing that at the moment. But thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I am, again, like I just said, really proud of you.
I'm proud of you as well, by the way.
Oh,
because I've known you since you were literally practically a little girl.
Literally 12, 13. I went to my first club night with you underage. Anyway.
Oh my God, don't. I'm a bad influence.
Don't
I'm
tell
joking.
About Mingles in Bradford. 01274.
I remember that. That's when I had full blonde hair.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Good times. But thank you so much. And we do this thing every time a guest comes on, and it's become a tradition.
We hold hands.
What
do we say?
And we say, here's to pivoting more in 2025.
Are we saying it together?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Here's to pivoting more in 2025.
Yay!